That's what you do. In San Francisco, I got it. I just didn't put it together. San Francisco, water, rain, late, drip, the last drip. Did you get
Swag,
it?
yeah.
I got it.
Oh,
I got
okay.
the whole
All
thing.
Yeah, it's just,
So, guys, meantime, the question is still open. Who is the best team in the AFC?
who is the best team
It's
in
the
AFC?
Bills. I've been trying to tell y'all. No, they lost to the Titans. I know they could have won the game. It's still the Bills. I've been holding on to that.
Who's
How many
the
more
best team in the
players
AFC?
do the Baltimore Ravens need to lose? Like, they're depleted.
It could be the Bills. It could be Cincinnati. It could be Tennessee. It could be the Raiders. It could be the Chargers who's off.
Kia, the question is after last night, are the Colts in that conversation?
No. Colts aren't in that conversation. They beat San Francisco in a monsoon. I mean, San Francisco is a good football team, not a great football team. And Indianapolis clearly is starting to get better. Carson Wentz is getting better. They're just playing better. We'll know about them when Tennessee and Indianapolis face off against each other, which is huge. But Carson Wentz has certainly come to the party. The Philadelphia Eagles don't like to see it because their draft pick will elevate if Carson Wentz struggles. I mean, and so, or better yet, it will elevate if he wins. They would like to see it. And he's doing a tremendous job. You can't complain about the way he's playing. He's winning, and I think that that's the key for Indy. But this really is about Jimmy Garoppolo last night. It's really about what the San Francisco 49ers look like with the investment that they put in to go up to get Trey Lance. Now, Trey Lance is sidelined due to injury. Jimmy G gives them the best option right now until they make a decision. But at the same time, this football team does not look like the team that a lot of people envisioned, Jay, at the start of the year would probably contend for the division. It would be the Seattles, the Rams, the Arizonas we all had in last place, and it would be the San Francisco 49ers will fight those three teams.
I feel as if for the Colts, Jonathan Taylor's an absolute beast, rushed for over 100 yards again last night, and Carson Wentz showing you that rushing threat, being able to get the ball down the field, making plays. Frank Wright, a big-time play, third and 7, going in the fourth quarter. They decided to go for it by throwing the ball to Pittman. That's not what they've done in the past. He's either tried to run the ball or he's kicked the field goal. He decided to be aggressive. I like what I'm seeing from the Colts moving forward, but fascinating conversation about Jimmy G is I feel like he's a cog in the machine, whereas Trey Lance has a chance to be the engine that actually jumpstarts the machine. And watching Carson Wentz just having that rushing threat last night, knowing that Jimmy G is not a premium athlete, feels like he's a lot more one-dimensional, whereas with Trey Lance, you just feel, granted, the offense may not have a high ceiling this year, but it just feels like they have a lot more opportunity to grow with the attributes that Trey Lance brings to the table as opposed to Jimmy G.
They haven't given Jimmy G outside of Kittle. They really haven't given Jimmy G a whole lot to work with, to be honest with you, because Deebo Samuel, Ayuk is. I mean, what is it? Like he was supposed to be the guy, but Deebo is not a one. Deebo's a piece.
On this team, he's a one.
But then you can't win with a Deebo being your one when he's really a 2-3 guy.
Yeah, look, it's time for Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Key mentioned it. Jimmy G was healthy enough to start. But listen to this. After the game, Kyle Shanahan was asked if Jimmy G would start next week, and this is what he said.
I would guess so. I'm going to watch this tape and see if guys are healthy, first of all. I don't even know where our guys are at. It was good for Jimmy to be able to get healthy enough to play in this game today. I got a whole team to worry about. I'm not just thinking about what the quarterback situation right now. I'm going to evaluate everything, see where our team's at, see what gives us the best chance to beat Chicago, and see what our options are. I mean, that's what you go into each week, finding out your options. We had 2 quarterbacks who were hurt in this week. Jimmy was able to come back and play. We'll see if Trey can next week. Still not sure yet, but I got a lot of things to figure out.
That was Straight Talk. Was it Straight Talk? Brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise. Guys, here's what's so interesting about what both of you guys said, what we've been talking about, this whole situation. Right, Jimmy G is a piece. He was one throw away from winning a Super Bowl, all that. Trey Lance has the potential to be a much more dynamic player. But how do you develop him when you feel like you can compete, right? And you have a quarterback in Jimmy G who you can compete with. So once they fall, what is it, Key? Is it they need to kind of fall out of things a little to say, okay, to hell with it. We're going to start Trey Lance and develop him? Or is it that Trey Lance gives you the best chance to win when you believe that you start Trey Lance?
I don't know that Trey Lance gives you the best chance to win. What have we seen from Trey Lance in a limited amount of time that makes you think that Trey Lance is the answer? The head coach there, Kyle Shanahan, was asked a question about Jimmy G being the starter. He said, I guess he would be. I guess so. Doesn't know at this time because there's a lot to evaluate after the end of a game. For all he knows, he may go back in there and Jimmy G may have a bee sting on his elbow and it swells up the size of a grapefruit. So for him to say, yeah, he's my starter, I know that's what people want to hear. I know that they want him definitively after the game to be able to say, he's the starting quarterback going forward. Don't ask me that again. It doesn't work like that after a game, especially when I just lost. When I lost, I got a lot to evaluate. I guess he is going to be. I would guess so. Why would you ask me that question?
Well, because you wouldn't ask that. Put it this way.
I would guess so. I don't know.
You just wouldn't ask that question on a lot of other franchises, right? Like
with established
it would just be
quarterbacks.
something known. You would know that the starter.
We already know, though, Jay, that there's an issue at the quarterback spot because you drafted a guy to go up and get. But remember, there's injuries involved. So for me to go out on a limb after a game and say, yeah, Trey Lance is the starter next week, I don't even know if Trey's healthy. We barely rolled Jimmy out there broken up.
Yeah, and Trey has that spring knee as well. That's a subject. But I'm with you to a degree, Key. I just think the fact that it is open, that uncertainty is something that people are going to double and triple down on. You know what I mean?
I do.
Because that becomes a story within itself, that there is uncertainty.
You know what's funny, though? I understand now. Sometimes it takes me a second to see, Key, where you're coming from. I get it now. What you're saying, it seems to me, correct me if I'm wrong, is, look, we already know they drafted a quarterback high up because they have an injury-prone starter who's good but not great. And they're looking for a little more, and also he's injury-prone. So when the guy is coming off of injury and is not great, why? And the head coach answers truthfully, I guess, we all go, aha, you see that? And you're just saying, yes, we already knew that. We already knew it. I understand.
Just germ spreading, though.
So that's why at first when you said that, I'm like, wait a minute, that's kind of a big deal. But you're like, yeah, it was already a big deal when they drafted a quarterback.
When they drafted him, it was already a big deal.
Right.
It was nothing. Right. I mean, look, Jimmy G didn't play great. He did some stuff that made you go, what the hell are you doing? Couple things. But at the same time, it was a monsoon. It was how can you evaluate the quarterback in that situation?
That's how we start the day. Start the day is brought to you by Indeed. If you need to hire, visit Indeed.com. Then there's another top 5 pick who's already making an impact. But does that mean he was the right choice? See that, Jay? I got that second cup of coffee in me. Now I'm ready.
Jeez.
That's next. Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, ESPN Radio, ESPN2.